Life can seem unfair sometimes, be it we lose our job or perhaps our car breaks down. But people with disabilities learn from a young age that a very important truth exists: love yourself. For today's list, we have some pretty wild examples of these people and their journeys. From a living Barbie doll to a werewolf, here are 15 people that you won't believe actually exist. Number 15. Boy with the world's biggest hands. Are you about to get into an old-fashioned slappy slap fight with someone? Well, it better not be with Mohammed Kaleem, the boy with the world's biggest hands. Because this boy will knock you the heck out with his paddle-like mitts. I'm sure there are other advantages to having such big hands, but slapping people silly must be pretty satisfying. Born with a rare genetic condition that made his hands grow non-stop, at their biggest, they had a length of 33 centimeters from wrist to fingertip. Now, it looked like a giant's hand had been implanted onto his body, but after they got too big, he underwent a surgery to reduce them, but not before the people in his village actually began to believe that he was cursed. After getting a lot of publicity through the media, Dr. Raja Sabapathy not only saw an opportunity to help someone who was struggling, but a challenge to do something not many other surgeons were able to accomplish, or had the opportunity to explore. After an 8-hour operation on one of his hands, the surgery seemed successful, and now everyone waits to see what will happen with the other hand. Number 14. The shortest woman alive. Adolescence is tough for everyone around the globe. I mean, you just gotta watch everyone around you grow and develop and become adults. But when you have dwarfism, or in this case, a very specific kind of dwarfism called achondroplasia, you're going to have to just watch everyone grow because your body surely isn't going to get much bigger than a 5-year-old. Born on December 16th of 1993 in central India, Yoti was growing like a normal child up until the age of 5, when her parents began to notice that she just wasn't getting any bigger. Though as she reached into her teenage years, the world began to take notice, as Yoti made her first television appearance on the Channel 4 show Body Shock. As she began to work with the television world, she realized that she wanted to become an actress. After appearing on a number of shows, including her induction into the Guinness Book of World Records, she began to relish the fame and attention that she was receiving. The director of the Guinness Book of World Records even went on to say that, quote, "Even though she may be the shortest person in the world, she certainly has the biggest personality of all the winners this year. So hats off to you, Yoti." Number 13. The 6'9" Russian model with the world's longest legs. For people in the fashion industry, looks are everything. And one of the most sought-after features of any model? Well, I suppose a flat belly, but what else? That's right, beautiful long legs. A Russian model by the name of Ekaterina Lysina has this to a T, and also holds the Guinness Book of World Records title for longest female legs. Her legs measure in at an enormous 132.8 centimeters long for the left leg and 132.2 centimeters long for the right. Her total height? Well, she's 6'9" as well. The measurements would be taken by people in the village, but in accordance with the Guinness rules, was verified by some of their own researchers. Growing up, she was teased, but I don't think that anyone's laughing now. Not only has Ekaterina found success in fashion, but she also played for the Russian Olympic basketball team in 2008 for the Games in Beijing. She said that she hopes that all of the publicity can help other girls who don't feel comfortable in their bodies to find love for themselves. Spoken like a true winner indeed. Number 12. Sultan Kozan, the tallest living man. Maybe Ekaterina and the Sultan should meet and talk about being tall. No, that's a dumb idea. You see where I was going with that, right? Anyways, taking the spot for the tallest man alive is the Turkish man, Sultan Kozan. Living as part-time farmer outside of the city of Ankara, Sultan came in at 8 feet 1 inch when they measured him at the age of 24. 2 years later, when Guinness's agents came out to confirm his height, he'd actually grown almost another 2 inches. His condition is known as pituitary gigantism, and none of his other siblings have the condition. It's only him. Because of the large stature, he's unable to finish school properly and had to quit in order to work part-time on nearby farms. What are the perks of being that tall, you may ask? Well, as the Sultan puts it, being able to help mom change light bulbs. And the setbacks? Trying to find clothes that fit properly. Very well put. Now, I'm one who can confirm that that's difficult indeed, because even at 6'4", I can hardly find pants that fit. Sultan would be married in 2013 to a wonderful woman by the name of Merve Debo, and who only stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall. Relatively average for a woman, but wow does he tower over her. Number 11. A real-life Barbie. Are Barbies even really still a thing anymore? I thought they got canceled or something because of their unrealistic body and lifestyle image that it gives to young girls. Well, it seems that not only are Barbies not actually gone, but there are living versions of Barbie. Apparently, a young Russian model spent $500,000 to get herself looking as good-looking and attractive as possible, and the results? Well, you can be the judge. She's never gone on record as saying that it was specifically Barbie she was trying to emulate, but I mean, really. It's pretty dang close if you ask me. Why all of it though? Well, as she explains it, she's an extraterrestrial spirit who's come to help people get out of the consuming lifestyles and to learn to live through love. All of the New Age idealism aside, I say as per usual, well, why not? She seems to be doing very well for herself, not only on the publicity front, which she has a ton of, but she's also trying the best to be the best human that she can ask for, which is kind of ironic that she's modifying her body in order to do it. Not bad, just ironic. Number 10. Mandy Sellers, woman with 17 stone legs. Now, it's very hard to stay confident in who we are with all the crap going on in the world, but if you're in need of some inspiration for self-love, you can look for the Barbie girl or this equally wonderful woman by the name of Mandy Sellers, who from a young age had very, very large legs. And not in the lean Russian model kind of way like earlier, but I mean like in huge and a blocky sort of way. Mandy Sellers would be born with legs and feet that were 5 times the normal size. And ever since her childhood, she's battled against the illness and society's view of her. With a trim upper body, it's quite shocking to see exactly how enormous her legs are at first, but as she begins to speak, you get the sense that she's very comfortable with the illness now and has learned to love herself even more because of it. In 2011, after undergoing an amputation, she was shocked to see that her leg began to grow back again. Her legs, weighing in at 238 pounds, almost killed her, until doctors found out not only what was going on, but also a trial drug for her to use. Now, her legs have begun to shrink, and she is holding out hope that they will continue to do so. Number 9. Isaiah Acosta, born without a jaw and the ability to speak. It seems that being born with defects can cause people to either crumble and despise their lives, or they thrive and learn to do the best that they can despite the disadvantages that come. Isaiah Acosta was not only born without a jaw, but he was also born without the ability to speak. So what do you think that he should have done? He should rap, naturally. That's correct. Even though he can't speak, Isaiah found a way to not only become a rapper, but a pretty successful one at that. After spending a ton of time in the hospital, he hooked up with local rapper Trap House. After reading and connecting with the young Isaiah's lyrics, he decided to work with him, using his lyrics and production abilities to launch them into fame and fortune. But this didn't go all to Isaiah's head. No, he continued to help children's hospitals and other kinds born with disabilities. Life just seems to be funny like that. It really just goes to show you that anything is possible if you work hard and say F you to the haters. Thanks for the inspiration, Isaiah. We really need that today. Number 8. A woman with full body wrinkles. Sticking with the inspirational theme, which I suppose is a theme for pretty much the whole entire list, we have Sarah Gertz, who was diagnosed with a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a series of connective tissue disorders that can affect bones, blood vessels, and skin. The result? Your skin produces more wrinkles than it normally would at such a young age. Sarah, like Isaiah, has made a career out of and found inspiration from her disease. Working as a model and a speaker, she's found a loving home on Instagram, which also serves as an outlet for her to show her body off as it is, and to inspire others to let go of what society thinks is beautiful. How does she do it though? Well, be reminding her followers of one simple fact. The things that make us imperfect are actually the things that make us beautiful in the end. She dove right into a career in modeling, hoping that she could be the first person with her disease to break through the mainstream and have an even larger platform to spread her message of love and self-acceptance. We're all rooting for you, Sarah. Number 7. A man who never gave up. Peter Pan ain't got nothing on the South Korean guy named Shin Hyun-young. How old would you guys guess that he is? Well, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, so what, like 10 years old? Wrong. Shin is actually 29, and he's still as cute as a little button. Just look at those cheeks. Shin suffers from a rare genetic disease called Highlander syndrome, which prevents the body from aging physically and slows growth. Highlander, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, is someone who doesn't actually age, and whether or not the name of the syndrome is actually linked to the movie is unknown to me, but other than this syndrome, Shin is in perfectly good health. Because of his youthful looks, he has to carry his passport everywhere, along with a card that explains his condition. He had developed perfectly normally until his adolescence, and then just kind of stopped aging. And I wonder if he's going to live a long time because he isn't aging. That would be really cool. It's not just a syndrome in that case, it's a gift and like a personal time machine. Number 6. Michelle Kish. All things considered, having a loving and supporting family must be of the utmost importance when born with a syndrome, disease, or anything that stands to make life difficult even more than it is. And Michelle Kish, well, she's one lucky woman that has to have such a loving and devoting family as hers. Michelle and her sister Sarah have built a very special connection, not only as sisters, but as close friends who support and inspire each other in a number of different ways. Michelle, being born with Hallermann-Streiff syndrome, has been through many difficult situations, ranging from needing to be at a hospital a whole lot and really trying to cope with how society views her. Michelle lives at home with her mother and her father supporting her. Her mother, though, is her main caregiver, spending her days hanging out with her dog and playing games on her iPad, and also learning to play the piano. Which kind of sounds super zen if you ask me. What is one thing that she would wish for though? As she puts it, a boyfriend with a head of full hair. Any single with a head of full hair out there? Just hit Michelle up for some good laughs, good times, and maybe even a piano concert. Number 5. Boy with werewolf syndrome. This syndrome is pretty awesome if you ask me. He looks like the Wolfman, though I know it must come with many challenges, like the shower getting clogged up. But as we've seen on this list, if you have any kind of syndrome, it has to be difficult. But this is one that's pretty dang amazing. Lalit Patidar, who's 13 and from India, would be born with hypertrichosis, a syndrome which symptoms include abnormal hair growth on the face, arms, and other parts of the body, basically like a werewolf. Lalit is said that he has been mercilessly bullied at school, but if you're watching this somehow, little man, screw those guys. His dream job, he wants to be a police officer, and I'm sure if they put him on the force, he'd do an amazing job. I can already see all those buddy cop movies coming out based off of his character. He hopes as well that he can one day have a surgery to remove his ailment. That way he can play with other kids. Come on, man, you can come hang out with me. I'd love to chill with you. All the bullying you must endure will go away once you're an officer of the law, so chin up. All of us on the internet are out here and waiting for you. At least I think we are. Number 4. Zion Clark. Zion Clark, who's 22 years old, was born with caudal regression syndrome, a serious disorder which impairs the development of the lower spine, and even though he would be adopted, his adoptive mother loves and cares for him as if he were her own child. And that's a good thing, because Zion has had his fair share of bullies as well. But what does Mr. Clark want to do with his life? That's right, he wants to go into pro wrestling. And I don't necessarily mean like WWE type stuff. I mean like put on the head goggles and get on the mat wrestling. And by the looks of his upper body strength, the guy's a real contender. He says that his haters are actually his biggest fans, and Zion, I could not agree more with you. How did he show his haters up? Well, by becoming one of the world's great pro wrestling athletes. He's also said that if you work with whatever it is that you have, multiple doors will begin to open for you. And as we've seen repeatedly on our list, it's very, very true. Thanks to the love of his mother, he made his life not just good, but something really great. Number 3. Deepak Jangra, the Electric Boy. This entry on our list is getting quite close to some kind of superhero-level human ability. Deepak Jangra, a teenage boy from India, is apparently capable of withstanding the electric current of up to 11,000 watts. That's the same amount of voltage that could power 500 homes. How did he figure out that he could do this? Well, by accident, of course, just like any other superhero. But in this case, he was helping his mother out with the heater. That's when he accidentally touched a live wire with a screwdriver and nothing happened. He thought there was some kind of power failure, but little did he know that he was actually completely insulated from its charge. Curious about how much he could actually withstand, he began testing the limits using a number of ways, such as sitting in a bathtub full of electric appliances, and yet still nothing. Wow! Even Deepak sees this as a blessing and is trying to find ways to use his gift responsibly in order to help others. I smell a potential movie deal here. Get at him, Marvel Studios. Number 2. Tilly Lockey, the girl with bionic arms. Now I know that we've all had those daydreams of what it would be like to be part robot or bionic or the Terminator. No, I'm the only one? Well anyways, Tilly Lockey had a bad case of meningitis as a baby and ended up losing her hands and most of her forearm as a result. However, thanks to how super fast technology is progressing, she was able to find an affordable and useful replacement in the hero arm. Tilly's story had hit the ears of famed director James Cameron, and for the release of his film Alita, which is a protagonist with bionic arms as well, he invited Tilly to the premiere. And once she hit the red carpet, she totally worked the heck out of those bionic arms, showing no signs of shyness at all. The arm, in fact, reacts to the thoughts of its wearer, meaning that all she has to do is think about the action and it happens, which may seem obvious, but our motor functions aren't always thoughts. They become second nature. The sensors in the arms pick up on electrical signals from the upper arm and then translate them into movements for the robotic arm. We really do live in the future, don't we? Oh wait, Skynet's calling. Number 1. The girl who feels no pain. For the last and final spot on our list, we have something that could definitely be considered both a blessing and a curse. Gabby Gingras is a girl from Big Lake, Minnesota, who has this blessing/curse. She had first discovered it, or rather her mother did, when she ended up tripping and falling really hard, banging the back of her head on the ground. Then later, she smacked her head onto the side of the kitchen counter, and she didn't even cry. Now that's something that goes beyond toughness, because if I were the mother and saw that, I'd be like, what is going on? It's considered a disorder, which is kind of strange to me. It's called congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis, or CIPA, an extremely rare nervous system disorder that blocks pain receptors. Parents spend so much time wishing that they could take the pain away from their children's lives, but what if that wasn't the problem? You want to put the pain in now, don't you? No, girl, you're just fine the way that you are.